As we prepare for our meditation, let us sing this one. I am stronger than my fears. The words will be there for you to sing whenever you feel comfortable. Let us do it. I am stronger than my fears. I am strong. In God I have my strength. I am stronger than my fears. I am strong. In God I have my strength. In God, in love, in hope I find my strength. In God, in love, in hope I find my strength. I am stronger than my fears. I am strong. In God I have my strength. I am stronger than my fears. I am strong. In God I have my strength. In God, in love, in hope I find my strength. In God, in God, in love, in hope I find my strength.
In God, I have my strength. In God, I have my strength. If it's comfortable and you're willing, I invite you to close your eyes or soften your gaze. Just become aware of your breath and relax in this moment. There is nothing that you need to do in this time. There is nothing that is calling you away from this moment of stillness and silence. This place of strength and resilience. As we turn our attention away from the appearances of the outer world and we bring our full focus inward, that place of strength, of peace, of love, in that still silent place in consciousness, that place that is illumined with the faintest yet brightest spark of life, that spark of love, that spark we call the Christ of being, our individualized place where God shows up in us. The fullness of God making itself available as strength, as peace, as hope, as resilience, as wisdom and will, granting us the powers of renunciation and imagination and power, that we might see things differently, that we might have a deeper understanding, a greater will to be the presence of love right here and right now. That presence through thought, through word, and through action, bringing that individualized spark into the world, manifest through us in all that we say, all that we think, and all that we do. Giving thanks for that unlimited wellspring, showing up at that Christ point in consciousness. And so we pause for a moment in the stillness and in the silence to know that this spark is the truth of who we are. And so together we pause and we praise in the stillness. From the stillness, we remember that soft, gentle showers and thunderous rainstorms bring about the cleansing energy, washing away error thoughts, releasing from our consciousness that which would be in lack and limitation. And then with a breath, sometimes we are lucky enough to see a rainbow and remember God's promise to give us the kingdom. Courageous and strong, I am resilient. Courageous and strong, I am resilient. So, as a community of believers, we keep alert. We stand firm in our faith, claiming courage, claiming strength in all that we think, all that we say, and all that we do. Holding on to this place of peace in consciousness, this wellspring of love, I invite you to bring your awareness back to this space and this time where we are together in consciousness, knowing that we are one with one another and that we are one with the one. And this we claim in the name and as the nature of the living Christ, who is breathing us now. And so it is, and so we let it be. Amen.
Let us sing again. I am stronger than my fears. I am stronger than my fears. I am strong. In God I have my strength. I am stronger than my fears. I am strong. In God I have my strength. Let's do that again. I am stronger. I am stronger than my fears. I am strong. In God I have my strength. I am stronger than my fears. I am strong. In God I have my strength. In God, in God, in love, in hope, I find my strength. In God, in love, in hope, I find my strength. And as we prepare to receive Rev Todd's message, I will sing this one for you. And of course, if you know it, please do sing along with me. It's Imagine by John Lennon. Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us. Above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine there are no countries. I know it isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for. No religion too. Oh, imagine all the people living life in peace. Ooh. Oh, you may say that I'm a dreamer, but I am not the only one. I hope someday you will join us, and then our world can be as one. Imagine there are no possessions. I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger. A brotherhood
Thank you, Deidrey. Is this microphone? It's working now. Okay. Yay. I got to sit down today. I need to feel a little more grounded today. Um, I had family visiting again this week, and yesterday my sister competed in a CrossFit competition, and she and her teammate got third place for their division. Isn't that exciting? That is so wonderful. And so that was been on my mind. That's why we've got this picture of little kids arm wrestling. Who's stronger? Who's more resilient in the world? Then this week I also saw, sometime after the competition yesterday, I saw a story of a coach who was working with a 9-year-old who wanted to run a race, 150 meters or something. It sounds way too far to run to me. And so he worked with this little girl for several weeks, and then the competition came, and she ran, and she came in last out of 6 people at like 18 seconds. And she was like, "I'm last," and he's like, "Last? You weren't last." And he's like, "Well, what do you mean?" He said, "You were 18 seconds. And I had you down to run in 19 seconds. So you actually beat your record. This race was your world record." Shifting the conversation away from everybody else to us, to her becoming her personal best. And that's pretty powerful right now in the world, I think. Because there's a lot of comparison. Have you seen any of that in the world? Some comparison? One of you sent me an essay this week by John Pavlovitz. And John Pavlovitz used to be a mega church minister in Charlotte, North Carolina, and he's been on my radar for years because he actually came to speak at One Spirit. I was not there for that event, but he has fully been on my radar, and he wrote a book called Build a Bigger Table. Some of you may have read Build a Bigger Table. And this essay was titled, "Do MAGAs Deserve a Seat at Our Tables?" And this was especially meaning for me to read this week as I had family visiting who sees the world in a very different way than me. I am burdened to bring diverse people together. I am called by my faith to care for all human beings in my path. I am compelled to see them individually and to value their specific stories, but I am not obligated to have unity with hateful people. Those are his words, not mine. It would be a slap in the face of migrant children, to people of color, to transgender human beings, to Muslims, disabled people, to non-Christians and women, and for me to offer the willing and joyous perpetrators of their wounds welcome in the name of some ceremonial tolerance. Earlier in his essay, "Is your bigger table open to Trump supporters?" I'm not sure how to answer that question anymore after what I've seen in recent months from strangers, from neighbors, from friends and family members still aligned with him. The absolute callousness towards immigrant families. Something that's been echoed to me multiple times by members of our community. The fierce opposition to releasing the Epstein files. Something that I personally want you to know as a spiritual leader struggle with, because I see the disparity of a political party that was intent on impeaching a president who lied about a consensual sexual relationship, and now we don't want to release files of something that is not about consensual adults. The giddy joy at the cancellation of media members, the indifference to the suffering in Gaza and the Ukraine, and the cruelty toward those who are already starved for compassion. And he asks some what he calls rubber meets the road questions, acknowledging that the questions have real consequences. We are in a time of great change, of moral testing and spiritual reckoning, not only in our country, but globally. It's a time of upheaval, both morally, politically, and spiritually, and each one of us is invited into a deeper clarity, into a deeper compassion, and into courage. And that's what I want to talk about today. Our spiritual clarity. Because this is a powerful time to be alive and to stand in the midst of our full humanity and to take the power available to us as individualized expressions of love. No matter where we are, where we live, we are invited to being awakened, to discern and to live from our divine nature. We're invited, as our daily word told us today in 1 Corinthians chapter 16, verse 13, keep alive, stand firm in your faith, be courageous, be strong. And so today, we're not going to talk about what to believe politically. Today, I want us to ask, how are we showing up spiritually in our thoughts, in our words, and in our actions? We know, we affirmed it this morning, there is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life. God, the good, omnipotent, absolute good and unconditional love, unlimited in potential to the willingness that we have to show up and be that love. The outer world is in flux. The outer world is in flux. Buckle up. The outer world has always been in flux. Spirit is our anchor. Spirit is the absolute, the unchanging, the place that is absolute good and unconditional love. And last week we planted some seeds. We planted some divine ideas. And here's the thing is that we, each of us, is a divine idea in the mind of God. And in the midst of this upheaval, the soil is shifting, and yet we are still cracked open, and we are full of potential. And so is everyone else. Full of potential. And so, how are we showing up spiritually? as individuals, as communities, as nations. Because the truth is that we're in a spiritual community today, not to choose political sides, but to choose love. To choose capital T truth, not the truth that is based on the appearances and the facts of the day, but on truth, the unchanging, the absolute. We are also here to choose justice. So what does it mean right now in this time of flux to hold the high watch? To hold the high watch. And I had to really sit with this in the stillness this week. And what I know is that right now, holding the high watch is not passivity. It is engagement, but it is deep spiritual engagement. And I've talked about divine ideas for a few weeks. We have talked about that you are one with the one, and we have to embody that truth and find out what is calling to us. Our desire. The desire of your heart is always God tapping at the door of your consciousness with infinite supply. Desire in the heart is always God tapping at the door of your consciousness with infinite supply. And that supply, quite frankly, is useless if we don't demand it. Before ever you are conscious of any lack, of any desire for more happiness or fullness or of joy, the great heart of God has desired you for years. And in the desire of your desire, of God's desire showing up in you, that you feel and think to desire those things. In the absolute, in the truth of God, giving and receiving are the same thing. Desire and receiving are the same thing. Our way shower said, ask and it is given. Knock and the door is open. And so if we want something greater, something different, we have to seek it out. We must desire it and ask for it. Now, there is a God urge or an impulse that's always interpreted according to our understanding as a desire for something specific. For one person, it may be the longing for more material good. To another, it may be the desire for release from the burden of material possessions. One person may long for more power, while another may have the desire to channel their power in another direction than the way they're now using it. A very artistic person may have a longing that causes them to desire things that will satisfy the love of beauty. Another person, just as appreciative of beauty, may desire the simplicity of life that sees beauty in nature, in simple things, rather than having many beautiful objects around them. In his book, Prosperity, Charles Fillmore wrote, "Desire is the onward impulse of the ever-evolving soul." So as we show up spiritually, are we evolving? Are we allowing our desires to show up? Are we allowing those seeds that we have planted to take root and those things to grow and bear fruit? Are we allowing that fruit to become ripe? Or are we claiming it too soon and deciding it wasn't what we really wanted after all? Because I don't know if you've ever eaten a watermelon that wasn't ripe yet, but it is not very delicious. Our true desire, whether we are aware of it or not, is to know God consciously. To know our oneness with this eternal presence of life and love and wisdom. And when we know that, we know bliss. That joy that does not even register on the scale of our emotions. We know bliss. And so in my time here at Crystal Coast Unity, we've talked about a bunch of spiritual practices over the years. Our denials and our affirmations, our prayers, our meditation, forgiveness, chanting, sound bowl meditations, making art, doing the one heart meditation, joining together in community to lift one another up and hold each other in times of great flux, so that we might have God thoughts, that we might have God words, that we might take God actions. Or you can change it and you can say, have love thoughts and love words and love actions. Emily Cady, who wrote Lessons in Truth and lots of other things, to paraphrase, said, the moment we fully and clearly recognize who and what we are and then claim our rightful inheritance, we are no longer slaves. We're no longer victims to the world that is constantly in flux. And that does not mean that we sit by passively, but that we take Spirit-inspired actions. Clearly recognizing who and what we are. That reminded me of a poem, many of you will know it, from Rumi. His poem, A Great Wagon, and this is just part of it, and it's one of the many interpretations. If you don't know, Rumi was a Sufi mystic. Sufism, if you aren't aware of that, Sufism is the mystical order of Islam. I kind of believe that unity is one of the mystical orders of Christianity. Today, like every other day, we wake up empty and frightened. Don't open the door to the study and begin reading. Take down a musical instrument. Let the beauty we love be what we do. There are hundreds of ways to kneel and kiss the ground. Out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, there is a field. I'll meet you there. When the soul lies down in that grass, the world is too full to talk about. When the soul lies down in that grass, the world is too full to talk about. Ideas, language, even the phrase each other doesn't make sense. The breeze at dawn has secrets to tell you. Don't go back to sleep. You must ask for what you really want. You must ask for what you really want. Don't go back to sleep. People are going back and forth across the door sill where the two worlds touch. The door is round and open. Don't go back to sleep. So if we're going to stay awake, and we're going to stay awake, yes? Yeah, I'm going to stay awake. We have to be aware that Spirit will call us to action. Right? And so we get to ask our question while we're sitting in this space of being awake, how can I live the truth I know even when the stakes are high? Our spiritual awakening is not to escape from the world, but it's not to escape the world, but it is a way to be in the world with divine authority. Because while you are fully human in expression, you are fully divine in potential, and you have divine authority over your experience of the events, the external appearances. And sometimes when we're trying to live into that truth, we can get distracted. Anybody been distracted? Maybe we get distracted because of what somebody has done or not done. And I have to put a distinction in here for everyone. And if you've known me for any length of time, you know that I feel this way. We have a habit of talking about our leaders. And I want to point out that just because someone gets elected to an office does not make them a leader. Just because someone gets a pulpit doesn't mean they're a leader. And our leadership that is rooted in spirit looks like integrity and compassion and wisdom and justice. And there are plenty of people in authority positions in the world today who don't have spiritual leadership. And that is a judgment that I make because there are times that I feel like I'm not as compassionate as I want to be. That I'm not showing up with the wisdom and the understanding that I want to show up with. And let me tell you what, if I can see it in somebody else, it exists in me. It's part of my shadow. It's part of something for me to heal. And in moments when I can see something that does not set right, there is an unshakable conviction and an inner pull that says, this is yours to do. This is yours to heal. This needs to be done. And if I can see that it needs to be done, then there's a really good chance it's mine to do. And the same is true for you. And unfortunately, when that shows up, it's rarely convenient. You ever notice that? This is mine to do, and now's not a good time. This feels bigger than what I can take on. Something's missing. There's lack, there's limitation because I don't have all the answers I want. But I know that there is something that I'm supposed to do. And when God calls us to act, when that inner spark of creativity in your essence of being reaches out and says that this is yours to do, it's not about your qualifications. It's about your willingness. Many of you have heard my story that I heard the call at 9 years old. At 9 years old, I was not qualified to be a minister. There are lots of pulpits in the world, a lot here in Carteret County, that would say that I'm not qualified to give a talk in front of their church. God does not call the qualified. This is a quote from Reverend Catherine. God does not call the qualified. God qualifies the called. And whatever you are called to do, it is yours to do. In integrity, with compassion, with wisdom, and with justice. As I thought about this and as I was reviewing it, I'm like, okay, maybe I need to give some examples. Because right now, I could give you half a dozen examples of people that I don't think do this. I mean, besides myself. Fred Rogers did it. Remember Fred Rogers? Mr. Rogers. In the 1960s, he used his platform to model compassion, equality, and dignity. In one episode in 1969, he invited Officer Clemens to take off his socks and shoes and dip his feet into a little kiddie pool and cool off from the summer heat. And this was radical because Officer Clemens was a black man. And at the time, there was a lot happening in the world, especially in the United States, where we segregated public pools. There are communities in the South that were so against the integration of public pools that they filled their community pools with concrete. Sometimes our history is not beautiful. If we forget it, we are bound to repeat it. And Rogers didn't preach or argue. He simply acted out of his spiritual conviction that every person is worthy of kindness and belonging. And I think that he still inspires people today. Clara Barton was moved by an inner call to care for wounded soldiers on Civil War battlefields, working in dangerous conditions. And she simply followed the pull of compassion, gathering supplies, offering comfort, and treating the injured. And she saved countless lives and eventually led to the worldwide humanitarian movement that we now call the American Red Cross. This was a name that I had to research because I hadn't heard of Desmond Doss. Does anybody know Desmond Doss? Desmond Doss was a World War II medic, and he was guided by deep spiritual convictions and ran into enemy fire repeatedly to rescue his fellow soldiers. And at the Battle of Okinawa, he saved an estimated 75 men, lowering each one down a cliff to safety. He was fueled by a belief in the sacredness of life, even in the midst of war. He was also a conscientious objector, and he refused to carry a weapon while he did this. I bet most of you know the name Harriet Tubman. Yep, she was felt strongly that God was guiding her actions, and she trusted that guidance, and she risked her life on multiple occasions and navigated some some treacherous routes, and she freed more than 70 people and inspired many more to escape slavery in the American South. And this man was moved by his faith to challenge injustice. He studied the teachings of Jesus and the nonviolent principles of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and he went to peaceful protests. He marched for voting rights. He faced brutal beatings without retaliating. And even after he got elected, he stayed grounded in the same spiritual calling, speaking often about the beloved community and the moral obligation to stand for what is right, even if it's unpopular. And for John Lewis, politics was never the source of his authority. It was simply one of the platforms through which his faith and conscience worked. My last example is Mark Hatfield, who served as Oregon's governor and later was a U.S. senator. And he was a member of a political party that had incredible support for the Vietnam War. And he followed his conscience and opposed the war on moral grounds, working across party lines to address issues of poverty, hunger, and global health, framing his decisions in terms of his faith and responsibility to serve the least of these. And sometimes his choices cost him politically, and he valued his moral conviction over party loyalty, showing that when God calls, integrity comes first. What is the source of your authority? What are you being called to do? Who are you being called to be? What are the thoughts that you are allowing to take root in your consciousness? How can you answer the call of what you're called to do and stand in integrity with the truth that you know? I do not care what your political affiliations are in the world. I pray that this community is one that stands behind the mission and vision statement that we read, that we are committed to being an inclusive community. That we are committed to creating community. And though we don't say it, but it is a beloved community. That we are open and give thanks for the diversity of our community and their experiences and their backgrounds and their beliefs. Because the world is in flux. And we have a commitment to stay in relationship and to live the truth we know. We have a commitment to stay grounded in love. I said it a couple of weeks ago, like this is not a safe space. This is a place where we each affirm our own courageousness to live the truth we know and to make space sacred And we're starting here to make this space sacred so that we can go out into the world and show up and say and do the things that are in alignment with the truth that we know, so that we make every place the sacred space. So whatever Spirit's inviting you to see or to say or to do in this season, instead of going, now is not a good time, take a breath. Come back to center. Come back to that wellspring within your consciousness and ask, show me how. Help me understand why this is mine to do. Give me the grace I need to move forth and still love everyone that I come in contact with. Because, friends, I have to tell you, not everybody is going to love you showing up and loving everyone. They're not. There are some even that may take issue when they find out where you come to celebrate what I call the Christ of your being, the love of your being, that wellspring of life that shows up in your consciousness. Y'all do know that some people don't like unity, right? Yeah, okay. If you don't, come talk to me. But you know what? There are a lot of people in Islam who don't like Sufism. Our role is to create sacred space where transformation, conversation, and spirit-led action are possible. That's what's ours to do. And sometimes we have to learn to stand alone while we do that. Not in selfishness, but in spiritual self-reliance. Because we think we're standing alone, but we're not, because we are never alone. Because when you are letting your heart lead from that place, you and the Father are one. When you're acting in love, when you are being the presence of forgiveness, the presence of joy, when you are opening your heart to love one another, you are not alone. And so we've got to listen deeply. Because what the to borrow language from our 12 stepbrothers and sisters, the God of my understanding is not directing me the same way that the God of your understanding is directing you. And that doesn't make either one of them wrong if it's built in compassion, delivering love, focused on justice. And then we have to be willing to be courageous about loving one another. Because you know what? There are also some people that don't want your love. But they're still deserving of it. And so we love them. And then we make sure that we are lining up our thoughts, our words, and our actions with the Christ within. I listen deeply. I love courageously. I act from the Christ within. I listen deeply. I love courageously. I act from the Christ within. If you're willing, I invite you to say that with me now. Let's affirm, I listen deeply. I love courageously. I act from the Christ within. One more time. I listen deeply. I listen deeply. I love courageously. I love courageously. I act from the Christ within. I act from the Christ within. Get clear on the seeds that you are planting. An influx, the soil is going to shift. You might find that the place you've been planted, that pot needs to get broken open so that the roots can fully grow and that you can bear the fruit that you're meant to bring into this manifest world. The appearances of the world are not our responsibility. Responding to each and every one of them with love is. And I don't know anyone more capable than all of you. I love you, and thanks for letting me share today.
Thank you for your message, Rev Todd. It was an important message that I think we all needed to hear. I needed to hear. Let us sing together this one, We Are One in the Spirit. I hope that you know it and can sing along with me. There will be words for you to sing along with me. Here we go.